All right, and with that, we are going to switch to the World Cup, and we're going to bring Adrian in. Hello, Adrian. How are you doing?
Hey, can you see me?
Yeah, it's
All right.
great. This is
Yeah,
Adrian's first.
thanks.
This is his first time live on Sports and Health podcast. He's been in
Yeah.
chat before,
Yeah.
but Adrian's been known of my podcast since the very first season that I've done it. And it's cool that here in season 7 we get you live, a video to
Yes.
tape.
Better
And
late than never, right? Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And it's a
Yeah.
2-2 game right now between the Caps and the Oilers. And
Yes.
so I know that you got to be nervous because it's your two favorite teams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
a little.
definitely a close one.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Connor McDavid overtime goal and then the
You mean the
uh,
shorthanded goal just now,
yeah, or
or
no,
like?
short-handed goal and
Yeah.
the power play goal that Oshie got right afterwards.
Oh well, I gotta say, these, yes, just to clear the air, yes, these are my two favorite teams. I was born in Edmonton in '84, and I moved to the U.S. in '89. Um, Can you guys still hear me? Sorry, I'm getting a
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
call right now. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But uh, I, the Edmonton Oilers are the team that got me into sports to begin with. But being in DC most of my life, the only way I could see them locally was with the Capitals, and of course, over time, I've grown to love the Capitals, and now instead of that, like they went from being a team I was indifferent about to my second favorite team, and now I can safely say they are tied as my two favorite teams. So seeing
Well, I hope that
this,
you're then very happy that that Dow just scored a
yes.
goal.
Oh,
And
nice, nice. Let's see.
so he
Okay.
passes
I,
it a nice pass back and scores it off the post and
yeah,
in. A
nice.
really
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
rush up the center and a great pass by I think it's Protas up the middle there
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and Van Riemsdyk was celebrating with them. So it's a big goal. His 47th shot of the game. They've outshot them
Oh, wow. Yeah.
47
They
to
had a ton of
24.
shots, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so it
kept
was Protas'
pouring it
second
on.
assist of the season
Yeah.
and Nick Dowd's
Wow.
fourth goal of the season. And we also have Stewart on the line too. We'll bring Stewart in now. He's
Yes.
actually living in Winnipeg, so he's a Canadian. So
Hey.
now it's even Americans to
Yeah.
Canadians
Good, good.
in this, and he's wearing a Jets because he's from Winnipeg. Although
Naturally, naturally. Yeah.
Stewart's a Boston's fan. He's in
Oh yeah,
Oh,
disguise.
okay.
Yeah,
Boston, Winnipeg.
yeah,
Hey,
interesting.
nice.
Yeah. So all
Fast
right,
act.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all right, with that, so we've got the Modfather, as he's known on Twitch.
Hmm.
He's the father of, I think we have a Modfather command. And he's the mod of Jillian, who is a great Twitch streamer, twitch.tv. Well, the information's in chat, but anyway, so she is great, a music streamer, and we both mod for her. And so since he mods and he's her father, he got the nickname Modfather. And
Nice.
so trying
Okay.
to explain it for the people who might be on Facebook who might not
Yeah.
know who the Modfather is. I love it when I get a first time promotion. And so
Yeah.
the people don't realize that I'm also a moderator of a lot of Twitch channels, so I can moderate and chat at the same time. But anyway, we have Modfather here, we've got Adrian here, we've got Arun and myself. We're going to talk a little bit of World Cup, but obviously if there's any scoring that happens in this Caps game, we'll be live breaking that in. There is a scoreboard above us if you are
Yeah.
watching live on Twitch as well. But Stuart, how are you doing tonight?
Excellent. I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm happier now that the Caps just scored. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's been a rough night and a rough week.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, I'll talk with Adrian a little bit more about the rough week for the Capitals. We actually had Carol, my co-host, do a guest surprise to us. I got to talk hockey with him for the first time in a long time. It's been months
Yeah.
since I've gotten to, so that was very cool as well. But we're here right now to talk about the World Cup, although it's nice because Stuart also likes hockey as well, as he's obviously wearing the appropriate attire.
I sure
Um,
hope so. Being in
yeah,
Winnipeg,
yeah,
man. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So let's go here. We're going to reshare the screen, and I'm going to pull up the knockout stage results And we've got the unfortunate results here of I'm going to refresh this here. And we had an unfortunate loss to the Netherlands, but I was really happy if we go back and see that we were able to beat Iran. And Arun, you were a bit nervous about that game. We'll start off with there. Arun, what were your thoughts about getting that big win? And then this is obviously a very difficult defeat for Team USA.
Yeah, it was good that Team USA got out. They got the goal by Pulisic. Fortunately, he got injured and he got knocked out in the second half. But USA was kind of dominating for the first half of that game, and then in the second half, it felt like Team USA took their foot off the gas pedal, and they brought in another defender in Zimmerman. Seemed like they were just like holding on for dear life, and they just managed to like squeak out with the win, even though Iran they like tried to draw penalties in the penalty box, and they got a couple of really good scoring opportunities. But Team USA did enough to move on, and then they moved to the group stage for the first time since I believe 2014.
Yeah. So it's Netherlands was a really good team. A lot of people who were following Team USA were like, I saw a statistic somewhere that like 70% of Americans thought we would win, but I'm like, you guys don't watch soccer any other time of the year.
No.
And the Netherlands are like a top 10 team in the world, and like they don't know that, and they're like, we're USA, we're the best, we won against Iran. I'm like, Iran and Netherlands are like very, very different. The Netherlands are just methodical. They just had some set pieces. They all worked out, and we fell behind, especially that one goal at the end of the first half. I thought that was really a dagger because I thought we played pretty well. And if we could kind of keep it 1-0 going into the second half, that might have helped us. But just overall, I think that goal really made a big difference in this one. Adrian, what are some of your thoughts on the Netherlands versus USA?
I mean, I, of course, was rooting for good old US of A, but it was, I was watching it with my dad, and it had a promising start, but it was clearly evident that we were, once it was like 2-1 with very little time left, and then 3-1, I was like, oh, no, like, our goose is cooked, but I'm glad that the U.S. made it as far as they did. I mean, when it comes to USA World Cup, at least with the men's World Cup, women's World Cups we do fine, but with the men's, it's always been a bit of a tough hill to climb. Like when the U.S. Beat Algeria all those years ago, that was a huge thing, and I loved having that energy in the streets. And I watched it. I was actually at Tim's house in DC watching that game, and I really wish the U.S. could have gone a bit more, farther. But the Netherlands has been top notch. They were the runner-up team in the World Cup not too long ago, and I know they have a very dedicated following. They're very passionate about it. This is like what they're dedicated to themselves to, besides speed skating. Like Netherlands are good at like a couple things. Like one is the coffee shops, that, and windmills. They got the speed skating down, and they like their soccer. So the U.S. put up a good fight, but I'm not surprised at the outcome, unfortunately.
Right. I'll get an outsider's perspective. Stuart, what are some of your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Oh, did you say me?
Yeah.
I'm still hung up on the windmills, speed skating, and soccer. That might be the statement of the day for me. We're not stereotyping them at all. You know what? I was surprised how much people all over the world thought USA had a shot against Netherlands. As soon as I saw them get Netherlands in the next round, I went, nah, they're done.
No.
I think everyone forgets how good Netherlands are, and USA hasn't been that great in the last couple of years. I mean, even Canada beat them, earlier this year. USA is not a bad team. Like Canada's not a bad team. Ignore the fact they lost all 3 games. They're actually not a bad team. They're just a young team. But but yeah, USA, I thought when they got Netherlands, I thought that's a bad draw. That's such a wrong team for them to play next. So they'd been better against a team that was a little more flamboyant, a little more, loosey goosey, I think. But I saw it coming. I saw Netherlands winning easy all the way. So
Yeah, for sure. And Arun, any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, they did play England pretty well, but I think the Netherlands kind of scouted the U.S. pretty well. Also, that opportunity by Pulisic really early on, he really should have put that in the back of the net. I think he thought he was offsides, but he wasn't. And I think that was probably like, if you're up 1-0, that maybe that changes the tone of the game. But I think the Netherlands, they held on for possession and they took advantage of the U.S. aggressive blitzing style on the defensive end, and the U.S. didn't really mark their they marked their opposing players, and the Netherlands had one of the longest opposing one. They had the most touches on that one of the goals. So overall, I think the U.S. they just need to go back to playing the typical ball that they were known for, which is playing good defense, staying to their man, because that goal at halftime pretty much was like being down 2-0 was completely different beast than coming back from 1-0. And because even that goal that they got by right was kind of fluky. It's easier to play defense when you're ahead, and especially against a team like the Netherlands. And maybe it will be interesting to see if Greg Berhalter, even though they made it past the group stage, it'll be interesting to see if he holds on to his job.
For sure. All right, let's go. We're gonna go speed round and go through these, and because then we can get into a little bit of hockey talk before the end of the show tonight as well. But Argentina, Australia also is on Saturday. Argentina was able to advance past Australia in this one. Messi seems to still defy time, and a lot of people are like, oh, he's washed up, he's not gonna matter in these. He's scored a couple of goals already in this tournament. Really amazing play by him. So I'll start with you, Stuart. What are your thoughts on this game?
Argentina is one of my picks. I think will be in top 4, as long as Messi keeps firing. If he has a bad game, they're out. He's their team basically, but he is a team by himself. So, cool thing about Messi, it looks like he's signing with Miami next year, so he'll be traveling around the States playing, which is great for me because I'll make sure I go out of the way to find a game of his I can watch. So that'll be fun. I guess the funny thing about Messi is he's playing for Paris right now. And are we going to talk about the France game later, or is that?
Yeah. We'll talk about all of them.
Then I'll talk about the France game and Messi and Mbappe and all that. But yeah, it's kind of cool that Messi will be in North America next year playing, and it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But like I said, Argentina is one of my top 4. So them beating Australia was not a surprise.
That's a good point. I'll have to try to go to a DC United game and try to catch him.
No, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I haven't actually been to Audi Field yet, so that'll be really cool. Adrian, what are your thoughts on this 2-1 win for Argentina?
Well, I mean, I'm happy for Messi, that's for sure. He's one of those legendary players that has had an illustrious career, but he's missing that one crucial thing. I know hockey talk is later, but I got Ovechkin vibes from him because he's such before 2018, Ovechkin was one of those guys who had every trophy except for the big one. And I know that Argentina got close to winning the Copa Americano, which would have been a nice championship for Messi, but they fell short of that. So I'm glad that they were able to go past Australia. I like Australia. I got nothing against them, but it would be nice if Messi had a nice one of these to go with his career, because he's one of those guys that transcends the sport. I know people who barely know soccer at all, and they know who he is. So he's one of those guys that he's an icon. So it'd be nice to see him get one of those fancy W's under his belt for his all-time stats.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Arun, what are your final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think you guys touched on it. Argentina was expected to win, and Messi would score. But I think shout out for Australia for just making it past the group stage. It's kind of crazy that day because Tunisia beat, I think they beat France, and that was kind of really unexpected. And Australia managed to hold on due to goal differential, which was pretty. Well, they had more points. They beat Denmark and they beat Tunisia, so it was pretty exciting group stage. But yeah, Argentina winning is not really surprising.
Yeah, shots right now. And the Capitals are hemmed in their zone. 7:42 left in the third period here. The Capitals need to somehow find a way to get out of their zone. They are dog tired. And they're just teeing off on them. They're now up to 29 shots. The Capitals have put up 49 shots again, 7:28 left here. And there's just there's a 3-man scrum at the corner of the Capital zone. They finally try to get it up over the glass. They do not. So it's this has been a long shift here. So Ovi's on the shift on defense with Strome and Sherry. Finally, Strome is able to clear, and they're able to get a line change. A very important change here with 7 minutes left in the third. All right, let's get into the next one, which is one of the games from today, because we're just completing these brackets here. So Netherlands will play Argentina, and then today Japan played Croatia and Brazil played South Korea. So we'll talk about that part of the bracket. The Croatia won on penalties over Japan in this one in a very close game. We'll start off with Stuart. What are some of your thoughts on this one?
Which game are we talking about now?
Croatia and Japan. It was a
Croatia and
1-1
Japan.
game, and they won in penalties.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Japan and the style that they play in, but I didn't see them. Or I thought they'd been easy in this one. I'm kind of surprised by it, but in a way, Croatia's actually a seriously good team, as we found out the hard way in Canada. So it doesn't surprise me that much. But I thought Japan was going to go a little bit farther. I thought they'd beat Croatia here.
Right.
Croatia would.
Yeah, people don't understand. Croatia has been good for a while now, and
Yes,
it's and their goalkeeper. I mean, to make he made 3 saves, I believe. So that's crucial.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm now kind of a Croatia fan because they handed Canada their asses, and it was like, seriously, watching the game, I'm going, my God, Croatia is good. We're all happy in Canada. We finally have a team that we think is good, and then the Croatia just embarrassed us, and rightfully so. They are that good a team. So me thinking Japan was going to win, I think, was misguided in a way, because I should have realized it was going to be a really close game at best. So so I'm not surprised by it.
Sure, for sure. Adrian, I know that you were at work today, but any thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm gonna miss the Japanese fans. They were very polite, and they cleaned up their stands after they were done. It's a very nice change of pace from what you see normally in especially soccer. Like, soccer has a reputation for having very rowdy fans that make a mess. So it's nice to see the exact opposite for a change. I know that with as previously mentioned, Croatia. They were pretty good, well stacked, especially against Canada. They when it comes to teamwork with this type of thing, like, they're very good with water polo, like in the Olympics. So the fact that they're good at basically water polo on grass is not a surprise. But yeah, this is I'll be sad to see Japan go, but I got nothing against Croatia either. I wish them the best. So. That's what I think.
For sure. Arun, any final thoughts on this game?
Yeah, just really impressive. Japan got to the group stage, considering they beat Germany and Spain. And Germany didn't make it past the group round just because Japan was able to hold on for that win. And Croatia didn't look like the better team against Belgium. Belgium missed, I believe, 4 goals by Lukaku. Could have had a hat trick in the second half when he was inserted the game. So it's kind of crazy that Croatia moved on, and I can't really blame people. People thought Japan was going to beat Croatia. It gets the penalties. It's 50-50. Anybody can win in penalties, but overall, really impressive showing by Japan, much more than the U.S., I would say, considering they beat 2 of the potential best teams in the world, like in Spain and Germany. Spain didn't really have anything to play for, but Germany's didn't make it past the group stage because of what Japan did.
Yeah, for sure. All right. 3:19 left. The Caps still up 3-2. 50 shots put up for them, 30 by the Oilers. The Oilers are trying to regroup, and I think they're going to pull their goalie soon. they're flooding into the zone. I'm gonna keep it here for just a little bit of the end of the hockey game, and then we'll continue to break down this bracket. And oops, I went back too far. But
You're so much further ahead of me in the broadcast. like,
oh, no.
like yeah, you're like 40 seconds ahead of me. So like I should just be listening to you instead of watching the TV. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
funny because Carol was
okay.
ahead of
Yeah.
of me earlier, so you know,
Yeah.
you never know. So
Yeah.
so a good a breakup by the Capitals there, and they're now coming back in the offensive zone and trying to rag some time away. 2:23 left in the whole game here. I feel like the Oilers goalie's got to be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
2:15 left now, and they're coming back up the ice. And it's a pass up. They enter the defensive zone for the Capitals. Capitals go around the boards, but not out. 2 minutes left. And the Capitals are able to deflect it away. And an important wow. I thought that he had gotten the center stripe. He did not. So it's icing, unfortunately, against the Capitals. 1:52 left in that one. And so while we're doing the break for icing, Brazil just dominated this game. They won it 4-1 over South Korea. This game was not close. They scored early and often, and they had scored 4 goals before South Korea even scored their first goal. So 4 goals in the first half of this one. Stuart, what are some of your thoughts on this?
Sorry, I muted because my family are idiots.
No.
My wife is staring at me now. Seriously, you know, I 3 minutes they lasted without yelling at each other. Okay, Brazil, South Korea. Brazil, another one of my top 4 teams for sure. I thought they would win it until I saw Neymar's ankle in the round robin there, and I thought, oh boy, the ankle looked terrible, but they healed it up, and obviously he scored a goal today. Brazil, I think, is my number 1 pick for this tournament right now. But they're definitely a top 4 team. South Korea is a good team, but they're not Brazil's level.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're gonna go last minute of this game live. It's what they call the McNugget minute.
Yeah.
And so it was deflected. So there's no icing here, and the Oilers were gonna go the whole length of the ice here. 48 seconds left. They enter the neutral zone and now into the defensive zone for the Capitals. John Carlson tries to swing it all the way around and does. He gets it past. Ovechkin's trying to go for the empty net here, and it gets stolen. And 30 seconds left. The Oilers now enter the defensive zone for the Capitals. The Capitals try to get it out again. And it's they try to do a shot on goal, but it was blocked by the Oilers. They enter the defensive zone again for the Capitals here. Poke check away. 12 seconds left. They put it to point, and they shoot. And I think that they launch it down the ice for icing with 0.9 seconds left. Whew. So I don't want to say anything, but anyway, 0.9 seconds left for the
You need your crystal ball, Robbie.
Yeah.
You need your crystal ball. You're seeing the future for me.
Yeah. Oh man, this is nerve-wracking. Edmonton's a good team. They've been on fire lately. I had been talking about Connor McDavid's stats earlier in this podcast. He's the NHL #1 star of the week, and he scored a shorthanded goal in this game. It's so I had his stats here. He had 5 and 6 weeks, so 5 goals, 6 assists, and then he scored a goal in this game as well. So now he scored a goal in 5 straight games. So yeah, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do this season. They ended up putting 1.4 seconds back on the clock, which is why I didn't want to get too excited too quickly, because that happens. Yeah, so it's still empty net for the Oilers. If the Capitals are able to get a face-off win here, that would be huge. And I will let you know what happens. And Tom Brady is also driving currently in the football game, and the Caps are able to win the face-off and get the win. So there you go. It's
nice.
a big win for Lindgren there, and I'm proud of them. Dowd played a heck of a game, and just a really gutsy road victory for the Washington Capitals. We'll definitely talk about that more in a little bit. But Adrian, what are your thoughts on Brazil, South Korea?
Well, I mean, I have always been confident in Brazil's ability to play soccer. So the fact that it was more or less a blowout doesn't surprise me very much. But I know that South Korea, they've enjoyed their soccer as well. It's been kind of a spotty past for them, but Brazil with their win in soccer in the Olympics back in 2016 when they hosted, that was a big deal. I know that they would love to have something as close as that again. So I agree with Stuart. The whole top four, maybe even go all the way. I feel like that they're a strong contender to go all the way.
Yeah, Brazil was my pick to win this whole thing. So I agree. Yeah. So Arun, what are your what's your take on this one?
Yeah, just based on the last game, like Brazil was going to be angry. They just lost to Cameroon 1-0, so they were going to take it out on South Korea. I think Brazil probably supposed to beat like most teams, and South Korea, they beat Portugal 2-1. Even though Portugal had already sealed their bracket, they did manage to move out of the group stage and make for some exciting. That was an exciting end of the day between that group. But overall, South Korea, they did score a goal, and they were pretty happy when they scored that one goal. When it was they're already losing 4-0, which is pretty funny. But Brazil's one of the favorites, as you guys have mentioned, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this side of the bracket, because the quarterfinals will come up now that we've talked about both sides. So Netherlands will play Argentina again 2:00 on my birthday in the afternoon. I won't be able to watch it live, but I know it'll be a pretty exciting game. Stuart, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Netherlands versus Argentina? Oop. I think he has to press unmute again.
No. Come back.
There we go. I got to remember to keep my hand on that mute button.
That's the key.
Netherlands Argentina will actually be a really good game, and like I said, Argentina wins if Messi plays well. It just comes down to that. Given the fact that Netherlands did so well against the States and looked so solid, I'm a little nervous about Argentina winning this game. So it'll be a really good game. It's a game well worth watching.
Yeah, for sure. Adrian, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, it's going to be a solid game. I'm going to try my best to check that game now, even though I'll be working that day. But yeah, Netherlands, Argentina, those are two of the best squads in soccer you could watch. So if I have to, I mean, I would probably bet on Argentina winning, but that's mostly because I would just want them to win. I feel like whenever Messi gets close to championships, he tends to lose it. Like, I don't know if it's like a curse or like a choking thing. So I just want him to break the curse, so I'm rooting for them for that. I got nothing against Netherlands, of course, but I'm going to support Argentina mostly for Messi.
Yeah. And Arun, what are your thoughts on this one?
They did play in the semifinals in 2014 when Argentina won in penalties. But I don't know. It's hard. I wouldn't bet on Argentina, but I think they'll win. But I wouldn't bet on them because they've had some weird losses. Like earlier, they lost to Saudi Arabia, and nobody else lost to Saudi Arabia in their group, which is funny. But I think that Argentina should win. Lionel Messi is one of the greatest players, but you never know what's going to happen, especially if they've had some weird losses in the tournament.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the bottom side of the bracket. This is a really exciting game. Croatia, which is one of those teams that, I think is very good. Obviously, was in the finals last time against Brazil. What we've all talked about as our maybe favorites to win it. This might be one of the best matchups we've seen the whole tournament. I'll start off with Stuart. What are your takeaways on this one?
Hang on a sec here. Oh, I'm not muted, am I?
No, you're good.
Okay. You know what? Like I said, I'm a Croatia fan now. I'm kind of thinking they win this. I knew they were a good team. I didn't realize how good a team until this tournament. And now I'm thinking, yeah, they're the team to watch, I think. So I think they'd actually might even make a top four. Well, they should be able to make a top four again. They are that good, and they have a lot of good players. Like three seriously good players on the team. So
interesting. Adrian, what are your thoughts? Brazil, Croatia.
That's going to be another good matchup. Brazil is probably the heavy favorite, but Croatia seems like they're more like an up and coming for the world of soccer. I think I also support Croatia just because I don't think I've seen them win in soccer or anything like that. I've seen Brazil win a few soccer things in my lifetime, specifically the 2002 World Cup and the 2016 Olympics, but I haven't seen Croatia win anything like that. So I'll support them, but I feel like Brazil knows what they're doing. Like they've done this before, so experience really matters in this sort of thing. So I think I prefer Croatia to win, but I think Brazil will probably win it. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, and Ray, what is your take on it?
I think Brazil will probably win. I think Croatia, this group of players is kind of old. Like they have a lot of veterans, but I think Brazil, they have like a good mixture of young and older players, and they should probably win even if Neymar can't play.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the lower side of the bracket. So part of it's been decided, part of it's actually happening tomorrow. These are the games from yesterday. So France beat Poland 3-1, and England beat Senegal 3-0. I'll let each one of you guys break down both of them, and then just for timing purposes. And so, Stuart, your thought on these two games?
France beat Poland, right? That was they played, right? Well, France is interesting to me because I honestly think they have the best player in the world right now. There's no doubt in my mind that Mbappe is number one. He plays behind Neymar and Messi in Paris, and he's not happy there. He hasn't been for a couple of years now, and everybody knows he's probably the best player in the world. That just gets kind of ignored because he hasn't got a big name as Neymar and Messi, but people are starting to realize how good he is. I mean, he's the golden goal leader right now, right? So, I like France. I think they're going to go far, and Mbappe is insanely good. He is probably the best player in the world. So that's my take on that one.
Yeah, and your thoughts on England beating Senegal?
England to me is always, everyone always thinks England, they think soccer, right? So everyone always kind of overrates how good England is. England's a good team this time, though. They're a very good team, and they'll give France a run for their money. But I'm going France. I think France is a top four team now because of just watching Mbappe play and seeing how good he actually is I think he's a difference maker in every game he plays in.
Yeah, interesting. So you have France over England. All right. So Adrian, going through the same games: France, Poland, England, Senegal. Your thoughts on that, and then two rival countries playing each other in this game on Saturday.
England and France. They are, they're a good bunch of squads. They really love soccer. They really like. It's one of those things that will stop, everything. Everyone will stop to watch the games. So I'm happy for them. England, they're the team I'm going to be rooting for because my dad is English. So like with both Canada and the United States gone, the amount of horses, my horses in the race, I feel like have been depleted. But England would be another one for me personally, just because of my father. But so I'm going to be rooting for them. But Stuart is as convinced as he is about Mbappe being the best player in the world right now, then yeah, probably France is going to win. I remember seeing France get second place in the World Cup back in 2006 when they lost to Italy with that famous headbutt. So it'd be nice if they got a little. And they won back in 18, didn't they? And when that was held in Russia, wasn't it? So that would be a good a title defending on their part. But I hope England wins. But yeah, France probably is the better team. It's the experience.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Arun, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Poland was one of the worst teams from the group, and France they were like they had just also come off a surprising loss to Tunisia, so they were out for revenge. England, I think England's actually didn't they beat France last time in like some competition, the Euro, and so that should be a good rematch, a good chance for France to get revenge. I don't really know who's going to win. I guess Mbappe, he keeps playing well because he struggled in that France game, the France England game a couple of years ago. But should be interesting to see how Southgate devises a strategy because he slowed down France. But I kind of think France is going to win, but it's kind of up there. It's a pretty good rivalry, and England's been playing pretty well. They haven't lost yet. They tied with the U.S., which I don't really think they were trying particularly hard. It's like kind of like a marathon, not a sprint, and they blew out both. They pretty much won all their other games with like 3 or more goals, so they're playing really well. It's just that will the pressure get to them from their fans, and their fans have had some racist things to say about like some of their penalty kickers. So hopefully it doesn't come down to fans behaving badly. But I kind of think France will win if he keeps like striking at the net. But I think Poland was pretty awful, so I don't really I'm not going to take anything away from that match.
Yeah. All right. So tomorrow's games: Morocco at Spain, and then Portugal at Switzerland. Stuart, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen in those games?
Should be easy for Spain. Like Morocco, how they got out of our group there is surprising with Belgium in there and Croatia. But Morocco's played a decent game of soccer, but they're nowhere near Spain's level. Portugal, most overrated player in the world, plays for them. So, I mean, he was great. He was one of the best players in the world for a long time, but he's so overrated now, and he's still crying that he didn't get that goal when it didn't touch his head. So, yeah. Portugal, they may win, but I'm kind of betting on Switzerland in that one. So I think Switzerland, Spain advance. I think that's most likely out of those two games.
Got it. And then, so if you think it's Switzerland and Spain, who do you think wins that?
Oh, Spain easy.
Yeah,
I think Spain has an easy run all the way here. It's I shouldn't say that. It's soccer, right? So anything can happen. Right? There's a lot of time spent guys lying on the ground grabbing their knee and saying, "Oh, I got kicked," and other refs handing out yellow cards for it. So you never know what you're going to get in soccer, right? There's always that upset factor that's there. So
for sure. Adrian, what are some of your thoughts on this lower part of the bracket?
I mean, I feel like with Spain, they've I guess I'm a little biased because one of my fondest memories of World Cup history and lore is the 2010 World Cup with the infamous Paul the Octopus predicting the entire bracket correctly every time, and the Netherlands fans being very upset about him not choosing the Netherlands to win the World Cup, and he was right. Like Spain won it, so and they won it. I know that was 12 years ago, but it means that they're eager to reclaim that glory. Between Portugal and Switzerland, I'm I don't know. I feel like Switzerland's probably going to be the better team, but I'm rooting for Portugal. Just because I historically I like them better, but
and a Spain-Portugal final would be, or in bracket in this would be an
Yeah.
Oh,
exciting.
that would be something. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
actually hoping for Portugal too. I'm a Portugal fan, but
Yeah.
I can't see it. I just can't. Against Switzerland looks like they'd be strong against them. So
Yeah. Arun, what are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. Portugal and Spain are both coming off losses. I feel like Spain will probably beat Morocco, even though Morocco's was impressive in the group stage. They tied Croatia, they beat Belgium 2-0, and they beat Canada. But Portugal, Switzerland, that's more of a toss-up. But maybe Portugal's out for revenge. But yeah, I think Switzerland's also really good at flopping, so that could be a deciding factor.
True. All right. Well, so that gets us all the way to the semifinals, which we will preview next week. And we can sort of recap how some of these matches went. Thank you guys for doing this. I'm going to stop the screen share for now, but this is kind of fun to break it down. I don't know if Stuart, if you're available next week, but we might do one final World Cup conversation, and maybe you can come break down those games if you are available. But
sure.
Let people know. I assume you don't want to stay on for Caps talk. Just but
Hey, one thing I want to point out that happened in the World Cup that I thought was rather interesting. I watched the Uruguay game, and this is why soccer is never going to make it in North America. At least it'll take a long time before it really makes it here. But Uruguay was in their last game in the round robin in the first round there, and they're playing away and they're down. They realize they have to win to make it to the next round or whatever. They have to win, right? So they're down a goal, and instead of playing soccer and trying to win the game, every single time they got the ball into the penalty zone, into the crease or whatever, they would fake an injury or fake a penalty and then yell at the ref. And they kept doing this over and over again for the last 10 minutes of the game. I swear they screwed up about 3 good scoring chances by doing this. And they got so mad at the ref. After the game, they literally chased the ref down. The ref sprinted into the tunnel and they were grabbing at him. I don't know if you guys have seen the news on this or whatever. They were all grabbing at him and trying to get at him. Security rushed to the tunnel where the ref was running into. They literally had to grab these guys to stop them from going after the ref. And for what reason? There isn't a single play on there that you would call a penalty. Even the announcers are going, no, that's not a penalty. And they're saying that over and over again to everything that Uruguay was trying to do. Why wouldn't they just play soccer? They had 10 minutes to score a goal. You play soccer. You just need a goal. Play soccer. But they're trying for the penalty shot. That's all they kept doing. And it's kind of a frustrating thing. But when you're North American, you watch this, players going down and grabbing their knees and they didn't even get touched. It drives you wild to watch that in North America. I saw,
from a hockey point of view, like it's brutal. Like, I'm just like, holy, yeah.
Well, I saw a meme. It's a hilarious meme. It's got Ovechkin in it, but it shows soccer versus hockey, right? And it has a soccer player standing there waiting to do a corner kick, and the player from another team kicks the ball at him. It hits him in the chest, and he grabs his face, and he goes down to the ground, and he's lying on the ground and screaming in pain, right? And then they show Ovechkin. He's on the bench. He's not really watching the play, and a puck comes and hits him right in the face. It hits him hard too, and he goes like this, and he rubs it up a little bit. Then he hops on the ice and he goes and plays, and it's like, it's the difference between soccer and hockey.
Stuart, I have a funny story about that. I once went to a Caps game. I actually think it was against Toronto, and he got punched in the nose in the first 3 minutes of the game. He scores a goal and then goes on to have 4 assists later in that game with a bloody broken nose. Like we're like,
that's the difference. Here we take sports as sports. Right there, it's like it's mostly a show to try and get a penalty. It's ridiculous. Right. It's hard to watch. I love soccer, but when the diving happens and all the other garbage that goes with it, complaining to the ref, it's like, oh my god, this has got to stop. They tried to clean it up years ago. They tried to clean it up years ago and they failed. So it's probably a reason why North America will never really love soccer, not like they do in Europe and all the other countries in the world, right?
For sure. All right. Well, Stuart, if you want to shout out anything at all, I know Jillian has a show multiple times a week. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so
Monday to Thursday. She has 10 o'clock tomorrow. and 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 5 o'clock on Wednesday, because she does the 2 o'clock is Blue List TV.
These are Central Time, by the way.
Central times, yeah. And then on Thursdays she does noon on Thursdays also. So yeah, she streams a lot during the week, and I'm the mod father. I mod for her, and a shout out to my surgery next week to get my hip replaced. So
yeah. When is that next week? Is it after Monday?
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it after Monday? Yeah. I'll come on here Monday night.
Maybe your last
surgery.
hurrah before they
Yeah.
that would have been even funnier. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you, Stuart, for giving us a Canadian perspective of the World Cup. I think it's cool to have an international podcast, and I'm excited for you to get the new hip, and I appreciate your friendship and coming. Well, I know that he's excited about it. I know he's also excited about the parking pass that comes along.
Oh yeah, you heard about that? Yeah, I did. I talked about it on the stream. I actually got a handicap parking pass, and it's like I used it tonight because I'm having a lot of trouble walking with my hip. It's so bad now, right? But I get to use it for a year, and my rehab will be done in about 2 months after the surgery. I won't probably need the pass, but I'm so excited for it. My wife is like, "We're not using that. No way, we're using that." No, we're using that because I get the best parking spot in the house everywhere I go for a year. So
nice.
Yeah,
definitely worth it. Well, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll get to see you one more time before this year is up. Next week is the last show of the year for me, and then I take a 3-week Twitch hiatus, and then I come back in January. But it's always fun talking. We've talked about the World Cup and the Olympics, so it's cool talking international sports with you as always. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, I always enjoy coming on. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, Arun, any final thoughts before we let you go, and then Adrian and I can talk a little bit of hockey?
Just one Wizards fact. The Wizards, I guess they're moving up the draft lottery. They could if they keep losing, they could get that French kid who's 7'4", who shoots like threes, and he's like 7'4". So maybe they could be a potential for them to keep losing games. So that's something to keep an eye on, especially if Bradley Beal is out with a hamstring injury, and he's going to be reevaluated in a week, and who knows, he might be out even longer.
Wow. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they can rekindle the sort of magic they had earlier in the season without Bradley Beal, and able to win a couple of games here without him, and see how that affects this upcoming week. But
and it was good to see Adrian on the show.
Yeah, it's true.
Finally, yeah. Thank you, Arun.
Yeah, Adrian and Arun have been friends since before I was friends with them. So back in I don't know, 7th grade. I don't know what year you guys.
We met in 5th grade. Yeah,
5th grade.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah, at the school that I now work for. So and I have for 13 years, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, we went to school.
Burning Tree,
Burning Tree Elementary in 1995, and then we both went to McLean the following year, and it was a coincidence. It's not like I captured Arun and made him come with me.
Yeah, exactly.
We went there together, so yeah, that was great. So thank you, Arun, for keeping me company.
And you guys were in the same carpool group together, right?
Yeah,
so
that was true.
That's kind of cool. So all these years later on the podcast. So I appreciate Arun you joining us, and next week we'll have an NBA special as the last episode before I go on break. But maybe even we'll see Arun live in person. I'm still trying to convince him to give him his sweatshirt. So we'll see if we can make it happen. Stay tuned in next week to see if where Arun turns up. It's like, where in the world is Arun? Arun, thank you as always for being a part of the show. And Arun's been a member was one of the very first shows that we ever did. So we're here at 292, I believe, and he was there. In episode I want to say like 10. So Arun, hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sure, thanks for having me on.
All right, all right, so Adrian, we're gonna do a hockey roundtable with you.
Yes, please.
Usually get to do this with a different group. I gave them the night off because they wanted to watch the Caps game live, which I totally appreciate. As you can see, it's hard to get the timing right with all of us. I gotta give Champ a lot of credit. Champ does wrestling podcast live with all of his people while they watch their show together, And what they
Oh,
do is
nice.
they actually time all their DVRs to be together, everybody on the show, so that way they watch it at the same
Oh.
time, which is kind of a cool thing. It's hard to accomplish in reality, but if you ever want to watch a pay-per-view for wrestling, that is an awesome place to do it. And then you could time yours to do it with them, and they give great commentary. So a little shout out to the No Spots podcast, and Ken. And so I already talked with Carol about some of the games this week, but we'll just quickly go through the scoring with you, Adrian. Were you able to watch? I know these were late games. Were you able to watch some of these games this week?
Oh yeah. Actually, with my job right now, I usually work from 12 noon to 9 or 10 p.m. So the late games have been very welcome for me. I really enjoyed the game against Vancouver, especially seeing Ovechkin's record break of the most away goals scored by a single player. So he broke Gretzky's record for that, which is great. And of course, seeing the Capitals win. I like the Canucks. I got nothing against them. A lot of family support them, but I'm not going to root for them over the Capitals. No, they're not like Edmonton or whatever. So yeah, I was glad to see them triumph. I was very disappointed with the Seattle game, unfortunately, because I know I mentioned this in the chat earlier, but and I mentioned this to you, but it was basically like if they had just played 60 minutes of hockey, they would have won it. But I felt like they took their foot off the gas. They only played about 57 and a half minutes because then they allowed the game to get tied. And then it was only like a 7-second overtime. I was like, I even rewound that overtime. I was like, can I hold my breath for that entire overtime? And
Yes.
like, yeah, it was that brief. So yeah, you could do that.
It was pretty
that was
brutal. That game was
yeah.
very frustrating, and you can
Yeah.
kind of see it building and going that way.
Yeah.
And Seattle's been really good. I warned people on the show the previous week. They've been on fire lately. They've been at that point. I think that they now lost to Florida, but up until that point, they had won. That was their 7th game in a row, I think. So,
Wow.
and they lost to Florida 5-1. And then they play Montreal on Tuesday, and then they play us on Friday. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to go to this game. So I'll ask you the same question that I asked Carol earlier. I get really frustrated, as you know, when we lose, and
Yes. Yes.
I've seen a win on my birthday and I've seen a loss on my birthday in back-to-back years, and I haven't gone back since. And it was like that famous Bruce Boudreau F-bomb game was the one that they lost. And it's funny because I was sitting there, I had glass seats, like the best seats I've ever had, and whenever I sit on the glass, we never win. I don't know why. Like we do better when I'm like in worse seats. So and it was a bummer. And I think I went with Tim. It was either I think we went with Tim or Leslie. I know I went one year with one and one with the other. And I was like, man, I hope that he's reaming them out for such horrible play. And then like later watch on HBO all those F-bombs. Like, oh, at least he did. So, and they won the important game. So maybe it led them to be angry enough to win the Winter Classic. So that was, more important just a couple of weeks later. But what do you think? I mean, Seattle's so good and they're so dangerous, but I have a goal. I want to see all the NHL teams in my life. And I've never seen Seattle, and they're also wearing those new black jerseys. And I got a Tom Wilson black jersey for my birthday, and I could wear it to watch it at the game. But I'm like, I'd be so angry if they lose, but I'm gonna be so elated if they win. And I don't know what to do.
Well, at the end of the day, you're going to a hockey game, so breathe in the atmosphere. With our friend Jan, I remember I went to a fantastic game with him, and it was like very good seats. Like it was so close that you could really feel the ice. Like when the skates came to a halt and a little mist would blow upon us. It was really nice. It was against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I was like, "Oh, the Blue Jackets! Oh, they're terrible. Of course they're going to win." And it was like something like 20 seconds left. They scored a goal to tie it, and then it went into overtime. And then we lost it in overtime. And I remember Jan took off his hat and just like slammed it on the ground. It was disappointing to see them lose, but I of course still had a great time. That's It's I know it's kind of cheeky of me, but this is the reason why I like to go to games where they play against my other favorite teams. So that way, if the Capitals lose, I'll still be pretty happy that some other team that I enjoy wins. But it's not like you get to really decide who your team is going to play on your birthday. It's not up to you, right? It's up to NHL scheduling guy. With Seattle, I felt like they were going to beat Seattle. Honestly, I hope that their loss to Seattle last week will reinvigorate their spirit to not make the same mistakes they did last time. Because all they had to do was just keep the defense up. You had a 1-goal lead. Yeah, sure, it's not the best lead, but it's enough to win, and all you got to do is play defense. I felt like they were really dropping the ball towards the end, and I felt kind of frustrated for staying up to watch that game because there was a part of me that was kind of tired, I should go to bed. I'm pretty tired. No, I want to see the end of this game because the Capitals are going to win, right? No, they didn't win, so that was upsetting. But this is going to be the first time you're going to a Caps game potentially. Since before COVID, right? So yeah. I really hope they win for you, man. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, the first Nationals game I went to after the pandemic, they got their butts kicked. I went with Jan to go see Juan Soto's first game after being traded to the Padres. So it's kind of like a farewell to him kind of thing. So I was like, at least I'm happy for them. But when it comes to Seattle, just look at it this way: it's not like if the Capitals don't win, it's not like Pittsburgh's winning. That Pittsburgh is easily the Washington Capitals fans' least favorite team. And with Seattle, they have a few of the former Capitals guys on their squad, right? Who was it? It was
the goalie is
yes.
So we got and then they have Burakovsky as well, and they also
Burakovsky's on this Kraken now. Oh wow, yeah.
There was 3 of them. It was, I want to say, Chandler Stevenson, I think, was on them.
Yeah,
Burakovsky and Grubauer for their goalie.
Oh man, Philip Grubauer was so good too, man. I miss him. He didn't get any wins back when the Capitals won the Cup, but he helped Holtby recover to perform the way he did throughout the entire run. So, and he was great towards the end of the regular season that year. So I was definitely sad to see him go. But yeah, so look at it that way. If the Capitals don't win, at least 3 of your guys from their Cup winning team will win. But of course, I'll be much, much happier if the Capitals win. But try to be optimistic. I just hate the thought of I'm just imagining you on your birthday all pouty and sad. No, man, it's your birthday. Don't be sad, bro. You're a good guy. You don't deserve to be sad on your birthday. So
I appreciate that.
don't look at it too hard like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that I'm going to go, but I'm going to wait until maybe closer to make the final call. See if I can get some cheaper prices because tickets are pretty expensive right now. But sometimes
I know, right?
Great deals at the very end. So
yeah, I took your advice. I shopped around, and I will be going to the game on the 17th against the Maple Leafs because yes, I like the Oilers and the Capitals. They're my favorite team, tied. If I have a second favorite team, it's the Maple Leafs, just because you enjoy Steve Dangle, but also I like the history of the team, how the first president of the Toronto Maple Leafs was the most decorated military hero in the history of Canada, and he was a World War I flying ace who had 50 victories and stuff. And it's oh, dude, that guy was the first president of the team. That is legit. I'm a history nerd, so that's why I like them a lot as well. And also, whenever you get a chance to go to Canada and go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, you might get a better appreciation for Toronto there.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Canada. It's so weird that I've been able to travel the world and I've never
you've been everywhere but Canada.
Yeah, I know. It's nothing against Canada. I have no problem with Canada. I want to put that on the record. But I definitely want to go visit that. I do want to give it one final scoring update. With 8 seconds left in the football game, Tampa Bay was able to beat New Orleans 17-16 with a touchdown by Tom Brady. It's and I want to thank Davey, who's just joining us in Twitch chat. He was like, "It's good to see you. I hope that my family's feeling better." I appreciate that. Yeah, they all had COVID this past week, which is why Adrian and I originally Adrian was going to actually be here watch the game live, but I thought we could at least do it this way. And I'm happy for Zoom because the last 2 or 3 seasons of my podcast, I've been able to interview people remotely, friends of mine, and talk hockey, and so. I appreciate that. Let's take a quick look at the week ahead for the Capitals. It's going to be a tough one. The next game is going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be against the Flyers. They always play us tough. Right now, the Flyers in their last 5 games, they were able to beat Colorado. They lost to New Jersey, who's been very good this season. They lost to Tampa Bay. They beat the Islanders and also lost to the Islanders. So, it's been up and down. The Flyers and the Capitals are in similar places in the standings. They always play us tough, and it's in Philadelphia. What are your thoughts on this game?
The upcoming game against Philly.
Yeah.
Well, it's the okay. Sorry, my wife is like, "Can you keep it down?" She's like trying to go to sleep. I'm sorry, honey. I'll keep it down. But with the Flyers, they've been not so great this year. So I'm hoping that the Capitals can take advantage of that. I know that watching games regularly, there are some teams that you play against that you're pretty confident going in that you're good. Like, okay, the Capitals has got to win. Like they're going to get a win in this game, like easy. For me, it used to be the Detroit Red Wings. I was like, oh, whenever we played against the Detroit Red Wings, I was like, oh, well, naturally the Capitals are going to get a win there, so no worries. But then they had their first loss in Detroit, in their arena for the first time in 7 years. So, everything's got to come to an end sometime.
They're actually in a better position than we are right now. So I mean, we've been dealing with a lot of injuries, but.
We're injury magnets right now. It's awful, but so I'm just hoping that the Philadelphia Flyers will be the new Detroit Red Wings.
I hope that we're able to take some of the momentum from this game and put it forward into that one. And then we play the Kraken, who we talked about has been tough, and we just lost to them. What are your thoughts on that game?
I mean the loss against Seattle, or the upcoming one against on the.
We're playing Seattle. We're playing Seattle again on Friday, so they're the next one. So, what are your thoughts? Yeah. We just played them, and then we got to play them again.
Yeah, I mean, it's if we just like I said, just remember how we played, and because the Capitals are so close to winning the game, man. Like all they had to do was keep up the defense, get it out of the zone. And then we would have won that game because we were already in the lead going into the final, end of the final few minutes of the period. So I feel like maybe with the home team advantage and that memory fresh in their minds about how easily a victory can be snatched away from you when you think you've got it in the bag. Hopefully that'll help them rally. And plus, it's going to be their first home game in a while, right? They've had this is a 6-game road.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really long road trip, and this is the only home game, and then they have to go back on the road right afterwards. So it's
so they gotta do it. They gotta do it for your birthday, man. They should just do it for you. Everybody else is a bonus. Oh, Robbie's here. We got to triumph, all right?
That would be awesome. And then the last game of the week is going to be against the Jets. It's funny that we just had Stuart on. He could have talked about this part of the segment.
I know, right?
What are your thoughts? I mean, the Jets have been playing pretty well. Their last 5, they beat Anaheim in the most recent game. They lost to Chicago, I think, was the game before that. Hold on, let me just pull this up. And Columbus. They lost to Columbus before that, and then right before that, they lost to Colorado. They beat Colorado, Chicago, and Dallas. So they've won 4 out of their last 5, and they've been playing pretty well lately. And we're gonna have to play.
Beating Colorado and Dallas is pretty impressive because those teams are very good, especially Colorado winning the Cup recently. So yeah, that's a solid lineup there. In my experience, the Capitals and the Jets. I feel like the Jets been one of those teams that's like really, really good. And every time they play the Capitals and the Jets are like neck and neck, but the Capitals just deliver just like a little bit more to get that triumph. I remember so many games that were so close between them, and the Capitals were just barely able to squeak out a win. Sometimes it comes down to shootouts, but then again, I remember watching them fight each other frequently because they were both in the Southeast Division
Yeah, the
for
Atlanta
a while.
Thrashers.
Yeah, when they were back when they were the Thrashers becoming the Jets, and then of course, most of those players that I associate with the Jets are not there anymore. Like specifically Evander Kane, who's on the Oilers now, so I like him now. But yeah, I feel like the Capitals will be fine against the Jets, but I hope I'm not wrong. I hope this isn't going to be used against me in the future to be like, oh, what
No,
the
we don't hold any of our predictions against our guests, but I appreciate you for giving the time. I'm gonna let you go because I want to be mindful of your wife, who I thank her for the time.
Yes.
But it's been fun having you on. Hopefully, this is not the last time we'll have you on Hockey Talk, but hopefully we'll have you in the future. Usually, the Hockey Talk is the first segment, so I know that'll be a little bit more difficult. But whenever we have a later Hockey Talk segment, I will definitely let you know, and maybe we can do this again. But either way, hopefully I'll get to see you one of these days upcoming when my family's feeling better. And thank you, Adrian, for joining us. Any final thoughts you want to give to everybody before we let you go?
Okay, well, yes, I hope the Capitals win. I hope you have a fantastic birthday. I hope your family's feeling better. I'd love to come and see you again. I got some Christmas presents for your kids, so I want to make sure they get to enjoy that.
I'm sure they want to see their Uncle Adrian as well. So
yeah, and Ashley would love seeing all you guys again. So we should make it happen. Thank you for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I would love to come on in the future. Maybe I can wow you guys with my impressive, illustrious knowledge of all the Stanley Cup champions going back to the 70s or 60s or something.
That's
so
true.
I can do it with my eyes closed, man. I can do it with my eyes closed. Like I study that stuff hard. So yeah, anything I can do to help make the podcast a more special experience for y'all. Thank you so much for having me, Robbie. Okay.
Sounds good. Well, we'll talk soon, Adrian, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. So with that, I think I'm going to start to shut down some of the different feeds here. But I really appreciate Adrian for stopping in. I know that Tim wanted to be a part of it, but his flight didn't land. But we were able to talk hockey, including the big 3-2 victory. And Adrian was gracious. I know that it was one of his favorite teams that did unfortunately lose. I'm going to end the audio podcast of this real quickly over on Facebook Live. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in and being a part of that conversation over there. We'll talk to you guys next week for episode 293. And I appreciate everyone for listening in on that side. So I am going to let my cat out for 1 second, and then we're going to decide where we want to raid. But put ideas for raid ideas in chat, and we will take a look at them in 2 seconds. Yes, thank you, Adrian, for joining in. That was super fun, and now it's not scary. Heck, even on a drive home, you could always put it on audio and through your Bluetooth, and we could have a call-in show. So it's cool that we can do it like radio and have video people on as well. It was cool that Carol joined us, and yeah, it was a really fun. Oh, LG is on? I didn't even know LG was on right now. Oh, and KR is also on as well. I'm taking a quick look. There's also Green Guy Music and the LG Music. And what are you guys' thoughts in chat between Green Guy and LG? I know that they both have the same number of viewers right now. If you guys feel like you want to visit one or the other. And yeah, it's been a super fun night. And we're just one follow away from my follow goal. So hopefully next week we'll be able to hit that. And okay, LG isn't going much longer, and they're going to raid Green Guy. So then, why don't we'll beat them to the party, and we'll request all the songs that we know LG wants to request before he gets to them. That would be no, I wouldn't do that. I know that he loves Waka Waka too much. But we can have a good time over there with Green Guy, and as I edit the podcast. But it was a fun show. I can't believe Carol shocked me and joined the podcast and talked football with us. That was super cool. Champ being on was awesome. Obviously Dugenet is great during the football segment as always. And then we got a live victory for the Caps, which was great because it was kind of a rough week for them. And then the Wizards, that was kind of rough to get through, but we did. I appreciate Arun and Champ for doing that. It was so cool to have Modfather with us talking a little bit of World Cup soccer. We've had different guests every week talk World Cup. We've had a different person on each show, so that's kind of a cool thing the last couple of weeks. So next week we're going to have a live Wizards game against the New Jersey Nets, so that'll be fun. It'll be the last show that I'm doing in 2022 before my break. We're kind of doing it as potentially a birthday party. I may have Tim and Arun joining me as well, and who knows who else might stop by. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's thanks, Davey. It's a lot of good material has been covered. Also, Tina was saying go. Yeah. Go Heineke, I think she meant, even though it's our bye week. And the Caps won, CAPS, Caps. So I appreciate Tina French for your subscription early on in the stream, and for Carly for resubbing for 20 months. That was awesome as well. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let's do a raid. Let me pull up Green Guys on a different screen real quick. But we're going to go right over to Green Guy Music. It's definitely been a super fun show tonight. Lots of wonderful guests. And we're going to create that raid right now. Hope you guys can join us. Green Guy Music is awesome. He does really cool loops. He's a lot of fun. And yeah, next week again, NBA special. Do a live NBA watch along probably in the fourth quarter because the game starts at 7. We'll be coming live at 9. We'll actually start off with Hockey Talk because Gil will be back. And we'll talk about this week of hockey games and take a look at the upcoming schedule for the next couple of weeks. We'll have a full Wizards roundtable to talk about the Wizards, and we'll also have some guests to talk about the World Cup as well. No football talk. It's on our bye week. We got all of our football talk done in this show. And then breaking news, Carol said that he's going to try to do a show on his Facebook channel and his YouTube the following week. So stay tuned to all of that. I'm putting all of his links in chat. Yeah, that'll be really fun for him to break down football and recap the Giants game and talk about the upcoming games as well because he'll be on break. I will be out of the country. I'll be gone for 3 weeks, but we will have my final podcast of 2022 next week. I hope people are able to tune in. I hope people stay along for the raid. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and making this a fun show, and we'll talk to you guys next week.